action, consumption is a demand-side action. This involves the marginal private and social cost curve. This involves the marginal private and social benefit curve. In terms of negatives and positives, it's about where your welfare loss is. Negative is to the right of the efficient equilibrium, so it's something that we're producing too much or consuming too much of. With positives, it's to the left of the efficient equilibrium, so it's something we're not producing enough of or not consuming enough of. Yeah? Simple policy solutions, we'll just go with the textbook idea of tax and subsidy. I'll just factor it in to this. Okay, so negative externality of production is something we would want to tax. We want to discourage. Like a green tax on the firm that is equivalent to the externality caused. The best thing to do is to draw in a tax as a parallel shift, a specific tax, like a tax per unit, something that reflects the externalities caused at a particular output level. In fact, the value of the tax is the distance BD, yeah, from this point here to this point here at the efficient output level. So we're using a tax that reflects the externalities caused to internalize the externalities at the efficient output level. And the tax revenue generated by the tax is P1BDE. We can talk about the tax being hypothecated, we can talk about it being used for clearing up environmental issues or for funding research into developing clean technology or something like that. It's used for a specific purpose. The other thing that you can do, remember with A2 analysis of a tax, you expect it to have that extra detail and extra understanding, is about who pays the tax. Remember, the basic idea is that the consumer pays the top part of the tax and the producer pays the bottom part. The consumer pays the extra amount, the difference between the original price and the new price, while the producer is left with a distance OE after the government has taken its tax revenue. And that distribution between consumer and producer, or contribution towards the tax, is determined by the elasticity of demand. The more inelastic the demand curve, the more the consumer pays. In this one here, you're looking at a similar situation where a tax is an appropriate solution for a demerit good. What we would want to do is to shift our supply curve plus a tax back to create a new equilibrium at the efficient level. In this case, we're going from B yeah? Because remember, this is the demand curve, effective demand curve within the market. So what we're saying is the supply curve shifts it back, it creates the vertical distance between the two curves is the tax per unit, this is the tax revenue area, okay? And the same arguments apply. Consumer's contribution, producer contribution, tax revenue as the total area P1BDE. Again, with demerit goods, they tend to be habit-forming in nature, which is why the state needs to step in to do something, because we can't do it ourselves. And remember, that will make the curve inelastic, which means that it will be the consumer that pays the majority of the tax. And that fits in with what our polluter pays principle, basically, the idea that the person causing the problem should pay the tax. That makes it an appropriate solution. In something we're trying to encourage, we're looking at subsidy solutions. Again, parallel shift of the curve. SS is our subsidy. But the key thing here is vertical distance now becomes the subsidy per unit, and the area becomes an expenditure area rather than a revenue area. Again, most students would talk about opportunity cost in terms of expenditure. Yeah, if the government's paying for this, what's it not paying for, or does it mean higher taxes elsewhere? And how does that affect economic activity and ideas of government failure from that?